Rich Politiski, bench pressing courage. Bench pressing courage, Richard Politiski.
Yeah. All right. What's your definition of strength? One day, my wife and I were relaxing on the couch, watching the evening news. A story comes up about a house completely engulfed in flames. Suddenly, a man barrels past all the firefighters and runs toward the flames. You could see all the firefighters yelling, "Stop! Stop!" But he kept on going. A minute or two later, the man runs out of the burning house with his dog in his arms. I looked at my wife and said, "Now that guy is tough. That took major strength and courage to run into that fire without any protective gear." My wife looked up to me and said, "Well, first, let me tell you something about my wife. My wife and I have been together for 30 years. Our core values and beliefs are completely aligned, but we are complete opposites. I am a talker. She is a listener. When someone else offers up their own opinion about something and she doesn't agree with them, she won't argue. She will listen, and then she will ask questions. Sometimes it is to help her understand the other person's point of view, but other times it is to gently help them see a different, more correct perspective. It took me a long time to realize this, and please, don't tell my wife I said this. But when she does speak up, she is always right. Back to that night, my wife looked up to me and said, "Yes, that was very brave. But true courage is found in vulnerability." Now, my first instinct was to laugh at her and to tell her that true courage is found in discipline, strength, and power. Vulnerability is the very definition of weakness. Wasn't it? Thankfully, I've learned over the years to keep my mouth shut. So instead of responding, I thought about it. Why, yes, running into fire does make your body vulnerable to pain and possible injury. But I think my wife meant more than just this news story. So I thought about it some more. During my years as a public speaker, I've listened to hundreds of speeches. I've listened to people share personal stories about overcoming fear, anxiety, tragedy, and trauma. And when I listened to those speeches, full of vulnerability, did I view that speaker as weak? No, heck no. I was always in awe of the bravery it took to get in front of all those people and talk about those things. Wait, did I just say bravery? Sure enough, my wife was right again. My speeches are usually about ways to better yourself, ways to strengthen your body and to strengthen your mind. I try to help other people, and I think I have. And being useful is good, right? But I want to be a man of true courage. And if true courage is vulnerability, I'm willing to give it a try. My story starts on December 23rd, 1994, the day I dropped out of university. Later that night, I was feeling down, so I called my buddies and we went out drinking. We went from bar to bar to bar. And then I made the worst choice of my life. I drove myself and my two friends home that night, but we never made it home. 2 days later, I woke up in a hospital. Thankfully, no one was seriously hurt, and thankfully, no other cars were involved in my drunk driving accident. But I knew I was going to have to pay for my actions. Luckily, my dad was a brilliant attorney, but I still had to pay my debt to society. I was sentenced to community service and mandatory attendance at AA meetings. Now, the community service, I could understand. But AA? I wasn't an alcoholic. I was just a young kid who liked to go out on the weekends and drink some beers with his buddies. But it was court-ordered, so I had to attend. For my first meeting, my dad drove me because my license was revoked. But what really surprised me was that after we parked, my dad started walking into the building with me. Was it to make sure that I actually attended the meeting? Or was it to embarrass me and make me stand up and say something? Whatever it was, I really had no choice. So I told my dad he didn't have to go in with me. But he surprised me again when he said, "Son, let's do this together." When we first stepped foot into that meeting, something weird happened. Has anyone ever seen the sitcom Cheers? What happens when Norm walks into the bar? Exactly. That's exactly what happened to my dad at the meeting. They all knew him by name. They all yelled, "Dick!" Now, I wasn't sure what was going on. Did my dad actually represent all these people at one point in his career? I had no time to worry about it, though, because the meeting had begun. And who do you think the first person to stand up and share was? My dad. Dick Politiski, my dad, the USC educated, the brilliant and talented attorney, my dad, who I never once in my entire life saw take a sip of alcohol, went on to share his personal story with his struggles with alcoholism and about how it nearly robbed him of his career, his wife, and his unborn son. My dad made himself vulnerable to reach me and to teach me. And all I did was admire him more. Thanks, Dad, for showing me courage is vulnerability. So what do you guys think? Can vulnerability be a strength? You bet it can. And if you still don't believe me, we could take it outside right now. Mr. Toastmaster. Well, all right, thanks.